Daniel, what's going on? The markets, they've just picked up again. Yes, though, hold on. Before you want to hate on me and dismiss this as clickbait or something else, I'm even going a step further and say these $70,000, which we might see today at 10 p.m., with Bitcoin, we need them to enter the really steep overheated phase. What's going on with that? And besides, a possible intrigue that has already built up before Gary Gensler and might now come to light. At the SEC, I also have news on that, and I have a new partnership with an exchange where you get a unique offer, a one-time deal. I would say that's enough. News. See you after the intro. See you soon. Uptrend VIP Trading. Your opportunity to copy the signals of two profit traders for free. They managed to grow an account from $4,000 to $30,000 within 2 months. The results in the group are also impressive. All you need for this is a deposit of $100 into your BingX account. You can find all further information below in the description. Yes, February is historically the best month ever. Yes, and now we're just stuck. Currently, standing at minus 13%. A big thank you for your support and trust. I know the market phase is tough, so it's even cooler that you're with us now. Yesterday's video was also great again. Got a lot of clicks. Even if you just want to support this video, my work, my hours of research, then simply and for free, without any effort, just leave a free like now and you'll boost the video even more. And if you're new to the channel, maybe watching the first video, and if you're looking for a channel that delivers the most important crypto news daily in a fact-based, open, honest, and transparent manner, plus a trading setup, then welcome. Feel free to leave a free subscription, not just a thumbs up, you know what I mean. A free subscription and activate the bell so you don't miss any important information, then you're part of the club. A warm welcome to all the newcomers at this point. And let's get started. We should definitely keep an eye on the NASDAQ today. I already explained in detail yesterday why. I won't go into more detail now. Feel free to click here for the video. Basically, Bitcoin looks at the NASDAQ and reacts accordingly. And the smaller Bitcoins then react to what Bitcoin does. So everything is connected. Of course, one might say, yes, there's a bit of recovery now logically, but if we consider it from Friday's perspective, the NASDAQ is still currently over 4% down. So we should keep an eye on it. And there is news today that could potentially push the NASDAQ down again. But now, a quick look at this brief recovery phase. What has led to this now? So I have a theory. Feel free to correct me if you have different information and please write it in the comments. But there is an update. And it seems that Zelensky is traveling to the White House on Friday and is agreeing to the commodity agreement with the USA again. So this could almost mean that there might finally be an end to the Ukraine-Russia conflict. Yes, and that I just want to point out what already happened a few days ago, or rather, it must have been 1 or 2 weeks ago when this daily value was completely saved, where initially there were negative headlines. And then there was the news, hey, Trump is in talks. And that lifted the entire day back up. So I can very well imagine that this news triggered the positive reaction in the NASDAQ. But we are definitely not out of the woods yet. Because today, at 10 p.m., the Nvidia quarterly figures will be released. And anyone who says at this point, yes, wait a minute, they don't have that much influence. Yes, they do indeed have a lot of influence. Especially these figures around AI. Just consider what Nvidia alone has taken in terms of correction with DeepSeek. So you can see how massively the markets react. If you don't believe me, just take a look at the correction that quickly came into the entire market thanks to DeepSeek. The forecasts are already rather bearish and the quarterly figures are not expected to be excessively impressive. Therefore, as I said, my assumption is that it won't be excessively impressive. And that's why maybe we should all check in today at 10 p.m. after the market closes. These figures will be released and we should take a look at what happens in the markets. So this could result in us not seeing anything initially on the NASDAQ, of course, since it's closed. On the other hand, in the crypto market, this could indeed trigger an immediate reaction. That's the downside. Or in this case, it can be the downside of having crypto markets open 24/7. What we should also keep an eye on are the Bitcoin spot ETFs, because yesterday we had a significant outflow here, as you can see. The caution is considerable, by the way, a small message at this point. Meanwhile, we have reached a point with Bitcoin where some who invested later are now in the red. And now you can notice fear is setting in. People are assuming it's all over. We've lost everything. And of course, institutional investors who are not so deeply involved in this game are also considering whether to quickly close their positions at a slight loss before potentially facing a much larger loss. And you can also read about this in articles like these, where you suddenly have reports of extreme fear. I mean, now among investors saying we will lose everything, the sell-off is happening. Yes, we know these reports. And also, when you look at the fear and greed index, we have really widely landed in the fear zone. We currently have a value that we last saw in May of last year. So, friends, I don't want to quote Warren Buffett again, because obviously when the fear wasn't that great, everyone said, yes, what Warren says, of course, we'll buy more because you should be greedy when others are fearful. Yes, it's just unfortunate that they were all still either in the neutral zone or even in greed. Now in fear, you naturally think it over more and say, yes, okay, should I go in now? Or, no, I'd rather wait a bit. Or what, but then invest again when we're neutral or in greed, right? Have you slowly understood the game? Or, as I said, neutral reporting, that's why I'm not just going to say here that it's all over, everything's done. I'm presenting all the facts here and I still stand by it. And now, stronger than ever, I released a video on the 12th March stating that there would be a pump. Whether it happens exactly on that day before someone wants to pin me down again, I don't know. But I have picked this day for now. Based on facts that I also explained in the video, feel free to click in here if you're interested in more details. In any case, the core message from this is if this platform is correct, then we currently have a US inflation rate of 2.24%. However, if we now look at the forecast, then we have here 3%. Which in turn means that the forecast is significantly higher than what is currently the reality. This means that if these values remain until the end of the month, and we are at the end of the month, and we have a difference, let's say exaggerated or relatively precise, of 0.75% deviation to the positive because the inflation is lower, then this could trigger a possible trend reversal. I'm just saying what happened with the last release of the MOM inflation figures, where we had a deviation of 0.1% to the negative and how the prices dumped as a result. Before we move on to the Ripple news and trading update on the new exchange that I have onboarded, where you can also trade without KYC, let's briefly take another look at why. I stand here and say, we even need this correction to 70. Now take a look at this. We simply have the last bull run here. And there we had, it's always the big question, were we just here and now it's going downwards, or were we just here? I still maintain the forecast that we were here before this parabolic rise comes. Now, please take a look at the last status. I have drawn it for you. We are talking here about a correction. I don't even want to say it out loud. You can see the percentage yourself. I won't say it. As of yesterday, or rather, if we now consider the top from the last all-time high, which was also in mid-January, you see here 16 January. So it's been a while. In any case, if we measure down from there, then we are in the lowest value. So currently, Bitcoin has recovered a bit again. We will get to that shortly. We are talking about a correction of 21.75%. So we are talking about more than double. And now the big question is, as it is itself, if we slide down to 70K, right, that would be the next big volume block we would have here. So let's just draw that together. I'll try to hit the same value here. We go down to 70. Even then, we are only talking in quotes about a correction of minus 36.65%. And now everyone is freaking out and saying that's it and we're going to lose everything. So, friends, what happened here. And that would also reflect, yes, much more institutional investors are now active, like BlackRock. Be it all the long-term holders, for example, Strategy, who have already reached a certain bottom formation here. But that's why, so take a look here. And then you can feel free to demonize me again now. Sure, you always need someone to rant about, even though I never caused any hype in the videos. But if you look at it, it could really be that we see this correction downward. Again, possible. Triggers could it be the Nvidia numbers now? And then it could really go up significantly again. And then we might theoretically see 120, 130, maybe even 140K for Bitcoin, indicating that we are in the overheated zone. But now let's move directly to Ripple. Or rather, one can clearly note with the SEC, you can see their work. They are now practically filing one lawsuit after another in rapid succession. So if we look at it, Binance was initially suspended, postponed. Okay, Coinbase has already been communicated that it will be discontinued. Robinhood, no lawsuit has been filed at all. Uniswap, another example, has also been revised accordingly, and it was stated that no action will be taken here. Court, everything has been dismissed. Everything left fine. Now I'm here. I also went a bit deeper into the search regarding the SEC and Ripple and found a report that is very current. There are shocking developments. It goes into detail. No, maybe some might have thought it was about Gary Gensler. No, it's about Bill Hinman. At this point, however, one must note Good Morning Dear reporting on the 20th. April 2023, there was already an article. I missed the whole thing. Specifically regarding allegations against Hinman, who may have expressed himself a bit biased. And it is also mentioned here, he probably had financial advantages in the $1 million range because of a law firm, to which he incidentally returned. After leaving the SEC, he made some statements in 2018, specifically regarding Bitcoin and Ethereum, stating that these are not securities. This, in turn, logically has an impact on the markets, and there was an attempt to uncover certain connections. Now, the whole thing continued, so clearly Hinman might have had some financial interest in it. I couldn't find anything about Gary Gensler being involved in this whole matter in any way. However, during a hearing, he was indeed unable to explain how this situation stands. With Ethereum security, yes or no? So, why he didn't comment on it in detail? Big question. Because now the next question arises, if something wasn't quite clean and kosher back then, it could have had negative consequences for the legal dispute with Ripple. Now everyone is waiting for Adkins, who is also not yet in the evening. It has been said that this is probably why first Ripple, this case is also being postponed. You can't really underestimate it because the scope of this Ripple spectacle is quite different, for example, compared to Coinbase or even Binance, Uniswap. We are talking about a precedent here. Before we get to the trading setup, just a quick note on the new partnership and the bonus for you. It's about Femex, you might know it, a pretty established exchange. You get a deposit bonus. This means if you deposit $100, you get a $25 bonus in your futures account. If you deposit $500, then you get $80. So far, so nice. But that wasn't quite enough for me because you have the opportunity, if you register through my link, to be on a whitelist and trade without KYC. I think that's a pretty cool thing, so feel free to write in the comments if that's interesting for you. And now let's dive right in. A quick look at Bitcoin, what we can expect here. So you see it here. We had an overarching, unfortunately, beautiful downtrend that was then broken. Last night it continued here. However, we still have multiple tests of this trend line. And now the big question is, can it be maintained or not? So you also see it's hanging right on the volume block here. And then if it goes further down, we would have the next volume block directly. And that's basically this range here. That means for everyone doing day trading now, sure, you can speculate that it goes down here. Oh, and possibly goes back up again, or maybe not. Because further down, it gets thin. We are currently in this critical zone, which I have marked here in purple. However, we should leave. It sustainably, as was the case here once, there was a test, and this zone was left. And linger in this volume block here. Or if we fall down, it could happen relatively quickly. A quick look at the heat map again. Unfortunately, it can also be noted that around 85,700 there is quite attractive liquidity where we have the market makers in play again who might want to push the price down nicely to squeeze out the last ones with a long position. Yes, and therefore it's quite conceivable that we might revisit this zone here either briefly or for a longer period. Touch or even break through cleanly and go directly downwards. Cool, even when we look at Ethereum. A similar scenario down here. There is a lot of attractive liquidity and it goes down to just about $2,292. And if we look at this again on trading, we are exactly here at this volume block. It's relatively clear that things could still go quite well here. However, if we slip there and nothing has essentially happened here, then it could easily be that we see 1943 or even lower. XRP behaves similarly. So if you look at the daily view now, it is significantly higher up, more attractive liquidity. It is quite conceivable now that this area here might be targeted first. However, down here it becomes interesting again. And that should build up even more strongly. The more people start going long here in some form, definitely. If you look at it, we are somewhere around 2.14, 2.15. And jump to it. Now let's just switch to trading view. And then it could really get thin because if we look here, we have the volume block also at 2.15, 2.13, something around that range. You can see there was already some support here, yes. This was briefly undercut as well if you look at this here. However, nothing else happened here initially. So the path would indeed be, I don't even want to say it, open to just about 1.54 or something like that. And again, the question is, what will Bitcoin do? Then we will see how Bitcoin reacts. A quick last look at Solana. Here too, you can see that liquidity has already been well picked up. It is also conceivable that this area will be targeted again. On the other side, we have a vector candle here. It is quite normal for this candle to be picked up again, either partially or completely. That's it for today. Feel free to write in the comments, what is your opinion? Daniel, the coffee was too strong. Or yes, I agree with you, I'm very curious. And if you want to support this channel, you can do so completely free of charge. Just leave a like or a quick comment. Write something. And finally, I can give you a tip in this video here. I talked about whether the SEC is possibly deliberately delaying the approval for the chairmanship to Paul Atkins. What's behind that? You'll find out in the video. We'll see each other tomorrow in the next update. Until then, all the best. Bye.